Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercising my first amendment rights stream style. Welcome to what I'm sort of planning on having be the final one of these streams. I'm not sure I'm wanting to do any more of these Guitar Hero tier list streams. I don't feel very strongly about any of the other games. I'm not sure I'm wanting to do one for any of the Rock Band games that I have. This one's probably going to be the last one. I want to get it out of the way while I am A, awake, and B, have it on my mind and all that. So, yeah, that's basically what we're going to be doing here. We got a lot of ground to cover with this one because this one also has a pretty lengthy soundtrack. There's a lot new that was introduced with Guitar Hero 3. Basically, this was where, multiplayer career mode was like a thing where, there was like a whole another series of bonus songs that you could only unlock by doing that specific career mode. So that was a thing. There was the graphics and designs are also a lot more different in this game. And I remember not particularly liking that much. The soundtrack for this, I think, was fine. There's some that I didn't really care for, but honestly, I kind of loved 2 so much that 3 just kind of failed to meet that in terms of quality, so I didn't really play it too much. But I still have some nice memories of this game. So yeah, that out of the way, suppose we can switch over to this window over here and get started with this. So, first thing we got over here, we got When You Were Young by The Killers. So, I'd heard the name The Killers before this, but I wasn't really expecting them to sound like this. I was kind of expecting them to be sort of like punky and whatnot. And I suppose Killers have some punky elements in their sound, but I've always found them more just sort of general, sort of soft Britpoppy kind of alternative rock. And they're an alright band. The first 2 albums are my favorite. The third one's okay too. Fourth one's not bad, but Hot Fuss and Sam's Town, that's pretty much, the bread and butter there. And this comes from the latter, and it's one of my favorites. It's something I definitely enjoy hearing. So this I'm going to put in the A tier, because it's definitely strong. I definitely enjoy singing along with a lot of parts, He doesn't look a thing like Jesus. They from Las Vegas. They're also all Mormon. That I also find to be kind of interesting. All of the Killers are Mormon. So next, what do we got? We got Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. I alluded in the Guitar Hero 2 tier list that I definitely preferred Sweet Child of Mine over this. I can tire of Sweet Child of Mine, but not like I tire of this. This song became really, really played out over time to the point where I just got tired of hearing it. More than any Guns N' Roses song. Like, most of the time, like, if you ever see me saying, like, oh, Guns N' Roses is overrated, a lot of the time it's mostly just because of this song, not really because of anything else. Because I've always found this to be, like, kind of played out. I found it really catchy on first listen and really just jamming and whatnot, but it got old for me pretty easily, and I'm not as into it as I used to be. So, a step down from Sweet Child of Mine, in my opinion. I'm going to put this in the I think I'm going to put it in C tier. Over there. Definitely enjoyable, but I prefer Somebody Told Me is still a great song. It is. My favorite song from Killers, I forgot to mention there, Jenny Was a Friend of Mine, is my favorite, largely because of that really, really cool bass line. You don't think they ever topped Hot Fuss? I mean, yeah, Hot Fuss is the superior one in my opinion, but Sam's Town is a worthy follow-up, I think. So yeah, I gotta be honest, Welcome to the Jungle beats Sweet Child of Mine. Okay, I mean, it's fine if you think that. I'm just not as sick of Sweet Child of Mine as I am of Welcome to the Jungle, personally. What do we got here? Ooh, one of my favorites in the game. Monsters by Matchbook Romance, with that really creepy guitar line that I really like this song. I really liked it upon first play in the game, and it's continued to hold up well with me. The solo rules. The chorus is pretty cool. This is one of the best songs in the game, in my opinion. And Matchbook Romance is a very, 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 very underrated mid-2000s post-hardcore band. Definitely worth a listen if you're into, like, you know, punk in the 2000s. S tier for this. I love this. Oh yeah, I'm not saying any other album came close. Sam's Town came really close. Yeah, Welcome to the Jungle is definitely a song that's played a lot on radio, I believe. Don't remember this one. Monsters is one of the songs that you unlock in the co-op career mode and whatnot. I found that to be kind of annoying because you'd hear this in the background on like the menu selection screens, and I'm really wanting to know what the song is, and that's how you unlock it. And I remember thinking, okay, that's kind of a hassle. I don't know why, but I always mistaken Matchbook Romance for Secondhand Serenade. I've never heard of that. I always have a hard time, like Matchbook. There's Matchbook Romance and there's Matchbox 20. They have very similar sounding names, and when I'm meaning to type one, sometimes I type the other. Also, I played a clip from Monsters in Best Songs of 2019. So there's that. Here we got Reptilia by The Strokes. This song I never really liked that much. I always thought it was sort of simplistic sounding. I mean, it's a memorable main riff, but honestly, I just never really found the song that interesting, and it's for that reason that I never really looked much into The Strokes. I know a lot of people really like The Strokes, but they've just never really sold me. I never really found them to be all that great. And nothing else I've listened to from The Strokes really matched up with this. This is the only song I really care about with The Strokes. So this I'm going to put in the D tier. Here we got The Seeker by The Who. Not really one of The Who's better known songs. I was kind of surprised that this was the song that they went with The Who, because I had started listening to The Who a little bit before the game came out. I was kind of shocked that this was the one that they went with from them, because, you know, you had some better known songs for them. You have Pinball Wizard, you had Baba O'Reilly, you had Won't Get Fooled Again, you had, what else you got? You got My Generation, and I said Pinball Wizard already. Good bit more, you know. The Who is definitely like one of my favorites from the 60s, although I kind of like their 70s stuff a little better. Who's Next is great. Who Are You has some good stuff on it. A song I definitely recommend y'all check out. I think this is on like a remaster edition of Who's Next. It's a song called Water. It's very long, has a really lengthy solo, and a pretty groovin' drum and bass part. Check that song out. That's my favorite of The Who, and something that is always a treat listening to. It's played live also. This song I always found to be kind of average, especially for The Who. I always thought there was better stuff. So this I'm going to put in D tier. The song that got me into The Who, thanks to Guitar Hero 3, really? Who Are You is another notable song. Yes, Who Are You? That's another really good one. Next, This isn't the version that's in the game, but we have The Devil Went Down to Georgia, originally by the Charlie Daniels Band, and Charlie Daniels unfortunately recently passed away, so rest in peace to him. The country version of the song, I think, is kind of fun and all that, but the version in the game by Steve Ouimet, that's the guy's name, if you want to look him up. He has an album out that's just called Epic, and his version of Devil Went Down to Georgia is on that album, and goddamn, the solos there freaking destroy. Like, I had quite a hard time beating that boss for the first time, and I think when I first played the game, I think I was playing on medium just so I could unlock everything without playing on easy, just because, you know, I don't want to be challenged too much, but I also just want to unlock everything and all that. And even on medium, it was kind of crazy with this. So, yeah. One of the few country artists that, you know, has some material that I dig, and, you know, can't go wrong there. So where am I going to put this? I think I'm going to go with A tier for this one. Ah, yes, Lou. He was a bitch to beat. That's what his name was. I don't think I even remembered that. I remember what he looked like, though. Kind of reminded me of, like, an evil version of Phil from Hercules. Cool Thing by Sonic Youth. I never liked this song at all. I always thought this song was really, really fucking boring. And needless to say, did not make a good impression on me with Sonic Youth. And as a result, I know there's a lot of people that like Sonic Youth as far as, like, you know, early alternative rock from, like, the 80s and whatnot. 80s alternative rock was never really my thing. When it comes to alternative rock, that mostly starts for me in, like, between, like, 88 and 90, I would say. But, yeah, I always found this to be really boring. Not something I went back to a lot. So, gonna put this in the F tier. I hate that more than fucking Tattooed Love Boys and Guitar Hero 2. That song at least had some catchy moments. This doesn't have anything going for it. Weird song, yes, weird song indeed. Now we got Cherub Rock by Smashing Pumpkins. Another one of my favorites in this game. Very chill sounding, but has some memorable parts. I like singing along with this one, especially the part where it's like, "Who wants honey? Let me out." With that really kind of nasally sounding voice from Mr. Billy Corgan. Definitely a very memorable song from my favorite of Smashing Pumpkins' album, Siamese Dream. My favorite song from Smashing Pumpkins is also from that album. That would be Geek USA. Cherub Rock is another highlight for me. And apparently it was so good that they also put it in the first Rock Band. So, yeah, I'm putting this in the S tier because I loves it. Cherub Rock is S indeed. Yeah. Really catchy riff too. The yeah. Makes me happy just thinking about it. What is this? Same Old Song and Dance by Aerosmith. In my opinion, this was a step up from Last Child. Last Child was fun, but this song is even more fun. It's got a cool, you know, shuffle feel. It's very bluesy sounding. There's a sax solo in this, and it's quite fun. Very groovy. One of my favorites from Aerosmith, I would say. They didn't play this live when I saw Aerosmith, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, it's a fun one. Wasn't really expecting this to be the one that they would go with if they were putting an Aerosmith song, because it's not exactly one of their one of their best known songs. It's quite known. It's a fan favorite, I would definitely say, but it's never been on the level of songs like Dream On and Walk This Way and all that stuff. But I definitely like this song a lot better than both of those songs. This I'm going to put in the A tier. My first Smashing Pumpkins song, Cherub Rock, is really fun and one of my favorite songs added by Smashing Pumpkins. Solo is the greatest guitar tone for a solo cover. Good song to practice octaves. I prefer their next album, but still great. I'm guessing that's in reference to Smashing Pumpkins. Yeah, I've always preferred Siamese Dream over Melancholy, but Melancholy is good. This is a better Aerosmith song. The song rules, so much fun and memorable lyrics like Love Ain't the Same on the South Side of Town. Love the Strokes. Good for you. Never got this band, never really understood the hype. Oh god, Cool Thing is a song I can't stand. I don't know if you noticed, but Cherub Rock might have taken a certain riff and drum port by Bytor and the Snow Dog by Rush. I'll have to look into that. That's not exactly a Rush song I'm all that familiar with. Next, we got Sabotage by the Beastie Boys. So this was an interesting one in there because Beastie Boys are mostly known for being a rap group or a rap rock group because they actually do play instruments. They actually, I think, started out as a punk band, but, you know, sort of morphed into a rap group with some rock elements. And those rock elements are definitely present in this and in this song, which is what I think makes it really memorable, especially that bass part where it goes along with those really weird guitar noises that make me think a lot of Tom Morello. This has never been one of my favorites from Beastie Boys, but it's definitely one I thought, you know, was fun, for sure. From one of my favorite albums of Beastie Boys, Ill Communication. I've always preferred No Sleep Till Brooklyn over this, along with, you know, songs like Hey Ladies, and Make Some Noise. But this definitely has a charm to it. It's cool. I'm going to put this in the A tier. Not the best song on Ill Communication. Sure Shot is better. Still good, though. Yeah. It's one of my favorites on Ill Communication, but as far as, like, one of my favorite Beastie Boys songs in general, nah, I wouldn't say it's really there. Next, we got Pride and Joy by Stevie Ray Vaughan. Is this a step up from Texas Flood? I personally don't really think so. I always like Texas Flood a lot better than this, but it's certainly fun. It has a cool swinging groove and has some really very trademark Stevie Ray Vaughan licks, and definitely, you know, is something that you really cannot go wrong with, for sure. It's definitely one of the better known songs of his, and of course, being that he's one of my favorite musicians of all time, of course, I'm gonna have a love for this. I didn't mention this in the Guitar Hero 1 tier list, but there was a class that I took in college called The Blues, and I spent a lot of time kind of gushing over Stevie Ray Vaughan in that class, as well as Gary Moore. Like, those two are like my favorite blues players. So, yeah, this has to go in the S tier. Texas Flood is better, but this is a really good song. Pride and Joy is the catchiest swing riff. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool. What a fun song, and yes, I like Texas Flood a bit more. Yeah. Stevie Ray Vaughan's first album is a masterpiece. Yeah, the Texas Flood album, it's great. It's probably my favorite, I think. Between that and In Step and possibly Sky is Crying. But yeah, moving on. Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. I mentioned in the Guitar Hero 2 tier list that I never really cared for Rolling Stones that much. I'm not sure I like this better than Can't You Hear Me Knockin'. Can't You Hear Me Knockin' at least had a pretty cool solo. Paint It Black doesn't really have that going for him. I'd say it's catchier, though. and has a cooler chord progression. But I was never really that huge on this song. So where am I going to put this? This I'm going to put in E tier. Now here's a song that introduced me to Rolling Stones. Next we got Rock You Like a Hurricane by the Scorpions. Their best known song, maybe not their highest charting song, but the song that anyone who knows the Scorpions knows this song. They know the riff. It's a riff that, you know, is one of the go-to, like, beginner riffs. I don't like this as much as No One Like You. I remember thinking it was one of the cooler songs in the soundtrack my first time playing. And, you know, it definitely, you know, has a feel to it that I can definitely get behind. It's not my favorite on Love at First Sting either. I think I mentioned in one of the previous streams that my favorite track on that album would be Still Lovin' You. And my favorite Scorpions song in general is from Blackout, which is where No One Like You is off of. The song Can't Live Without You. But yeah, you can't really go wrong with this one. It's not a bad song by any means. Not really a song I think I need to hear anymore. But that said, I'll put it in the A tier just because, you know, there are some pretty cool guitar parts. Especially the harmony parts and the really fast parts in the solo. The song is Painted Black is very overplayed, very psychedelic. Painted Black is kick-ass, also my first song of theirs. Scorpions is S tier. They're a good band, definitely. Mostly their 80s material is what I tend to listen to more. From Love Drive to Face the Heat. Yes, my introduction to the Scorpions. Had this song on my iPod since 2010. I remember an Applebee's commercial using Rock You Like a Hurricane. Painted Black is the first emo song ever. Yeah, I can kind of see that for sure. It's making me think of that part in Danny Phantom when Sam's mom comes in with this pink dress and she just takes this can of black spray paint and just sprays it black and then just cuts it short. It's like, that's always sort of been what Painted Black always made me think of. What do we got next? Rain and Blood by Slayer. A very challenging song. I'd heard some talk about Slayer before, and this was my introduction to Slayer, of course. I had some pretty high expectations, especially since this was in, like, the final level. I remember thinking, okay, I'm finally gonna get to hear what this sounds like. And when it gets to the part where it goes, I'm like, okay, yeah, I can definitely see why people like this. But then we get to the part after that where it just starts going really fucking crazy fast, and I'm like, okay, all right, this is pretty hectic for my liking, but I can definitely see the appeal. And that's always been sort of my thing with Slayer, is I totally get why so many people like them, why so many people think they're like one of the best ever and whatnot. It's just the fans just, like, you've heard me say this many times, how obnoxious their fan base can be. Not to mention, it's part of the reason why I kind of think J-Hoff Films has been going downhill for the last couple years, is because they've been running the Slayer shit into the ground. But, you know, I'm not going to say this is a bad song because of that. It's just not one that, you know, I gush over, and it's not from a band I gush over. I've always preferred Angel of Death over this, and the song that I've always said is my favorite from Slayer would probably be South of Heaven. So I'll put this in the A tier to be nice. Overrated album, Season the Best, South of Heaven, Rain and Blood. Yeah, I've always liked those albums more than Rain and Blood. Rain and Blood, the best intro of the whole game. Rain and Blood is S tier for me. Slayer outro is 240 BPM. Show No Mercy, Rain and Blood. I'd agree with that. I'm here, bro. Glad to see you could make it, Space Metal. Because I remember how upset you were that you missed the Rock the 80s stream. Rain and Blood's B tier. Got here, Suck My Kiss by Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's from a superior album to Higher Ground on the first game. Blood Sugar Sex Magic has always been my second favorite Chili Peppers album after Stadium Arcadium. I'm not sure if this is the better song, though, compared to their cover of Higher Ground. It's funkier, definitely. But Higher Ground, I think, is more fun than this one. But it's still great. It's definitely a good song from Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And I'm glad that, that we got a funkier sounding Chili Peppers song, in one of these games. Because I don't really feel like Higher Ground would have made as good of an impression on people who had never heard the Chili Peppers before compared to a song like this. Though, I could go on and on about songs I would love to see from the Chili Peppers in a game like this because they're one of my favorite bands. So, yeah. So, although it might not be one of my favorite Chili Peppers tunes, I'm still going to put it in the S tier just based on principle. Never got into this song. Keys' vocals are so hit or miss for me. Like I said in the What's Wrong With on the Chili Peppers, that's always been like one of the main complaints people have had is mostly having to do with Kiedis' vocals. And I can sort of understand where they're coming from. I never really found him to be an amazing singer, but mostly a charismatic and recognizable singer. Early Red Hot Chili Peppers, good, not 2000s except Danny California. Stadium Arcadium is really great, There's some excellent songs on there. Like, listen to the song Torture Me, and I'm sure you can, see the appeal there, because it has funky parts, has a really ripping solo, and that's a blast. Suck My Kiss would be a B tier for me. I think it even introduced me to Red Hot Chili Peppers as well. Suck My Kiss is D tier for me. Yeah, I can see a lot of people are kind of mixed on that particular song. I definitely would have picked a different one personally, but yeah. I remember how I used to think Suck My Kiss was a disturbing song title when I was 10. I never really understood what sucking a kiss meant when I first heard the song. Nowadays, I think it's more of a censor for something else that people suck. Your mouth was made to suck my kiss. Speaking of Kiss, we got Rock and Roll All Night, a song I am very, very, very sick of. Like anybody who thinks Kiss is overrated and annoying, a lot of the time it has to do with this song and how played out it is with the freaking chorus. I wanna rock and roll all night and party every day. It's like, okay. Like, again, it's very, like, by the numbers hard rock and whatnot. And there is definitely better Kiss material out there. I think, God, like, I'm more sick of this song than I am of Welcome to the Jungle. That's the thing. So I'm going to put this in E tier. And by the way, since part of me feels an obligation to say this, Poison's cover of that song is much more fun. Snow Heyo is a great one. Yeah, I used to not like Snow Heyo that much, but then when I heard the guitar line and how intricate it is, that's what got me to appreciate it a lot more. It is kind of repetitive, but that guitar part, I remember being like really kind of intrigued by that, especially because one of my guitarist friends played that with such ease, and I'm like, I love Kiss, but this is not one of my favorites. They could have picked I've Had Enough, Into the Fire, King of the Mountain, or I Stole Your Love, all of which I definitely prefer over that. School's Out by Alice Cooper. A song that was part of a ritual of mine for many years back when I actually went to school. From in high school all the way through my college days, this was always the song that I would play on the last day of school. Whenever I came home, I would just turn this up real loud because I felt very strongly about this ritual because, of course, that's the big thing that really has held this song up, is because, it's a go-to song for when you're finished with school and all that. It also makes me think a lot of the Camp Krusty episode of The Simpsons in the beginning, where Bart is having his dream about destroying the school once it lets out. I wouldn't say I'm super huge on Alice Cooper, but of course, I'll always have some very nice memories of this song. So this I'm going to put in B tier, just to put something there. Rock and Roll All Night is great, but it's got nothing on Strutter, Lick It Up, Detroit Rock City, Sure Know Something, Forever, and Love Gun. Love Gun's pretty awesome. Detroit Rock City, I'd definitely say it's more fun. Feed My Frankenstein is better. Indeed it is. It features solos from Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. Alice Cooper, the band, Alice Cooper, solo artist. I never really made a point to differentiate them, personally. I know one of Alice Cooper backup singers, Devin Mead, on Alice Trashes the World Tour. Next, we got My Name Is Jonas by Weezer. So, prior to hearing this song in the game, I was already aware of Beverly Hills because it was very popular, and I'm someone that actually doesn't hate that song, mostly because it's got a pretty cool sounding solo. But I was pretty interested when I heard what this song sounded like and how different it sounded from that song. And I'm like, yeah. This is pretty fun, definitely. Wouldn't say, actually no, I'd definitely say it's one of my favorites on Blue Album. Blue Album is my favorite from Weezer, but my favorite song, I definitely recommend you guys check this out because it's very proggy and very all over the place. The Greatest Man That Ever Lived from the Red Album. It features a rendition of a Shaker hymn, the that part. That's what got me really interested in that song. We were playing that in concert band my freshman year of high school, and the Red Album was came out very recently, and one of the people asked to play that song in the class just because of that. And so that's a big part of why that's my favorite of Weezer's songs. But My Name Is Jonas is definitely up there. It's got a cool acoustic line, kind of a repetitive progression, but it's kind of a drinking sounding song, I think. So it's pretty enjoyable, definitely. This I'm going to put in A tier. ARTV's favorite Weezer song, that's right. Maybe the best Weezer song, or maybe something off Pinkerton. That Weezer song, aside from TTFAF, was one of the first in the GH3 previews that I saw on here. The song is great. What got me into Weezer, also very fun to play. Song in 6/8 time signature, First Weezer song. Only in Dreams is the best song on Blue. My Name Is Jonas, Weezer's best song, hands down. It's certainly up there. I love Pork and Beans from Red Album. That one's pretty fun and funny. Weezer is the most frustrating band ever, though. Yeah, Weezer is another one of those bands where their new material is just very divisive, I think. My favorite Weezer song would be either Why Bother, The Good Life, Across the Sea, or In the Garage. They come out with a good album and then proceed to make a few shit albums and an unnecessary covers album. Oh, God. I remember everybody hating that. I'm hearing people are pretty excited for the Van Weezer one, which is supposed to sound like, an 80s rock album and all that, and I'm certainly interested to see what people think of it. Black Magic Woman by Santana. It's definitely got a very Latin kind of flavor to it, and some pretty interesting soloing and all that. This was never one of my favorite Santana songs. My introduction to Santana was through in my drum lessons, where I learned the one and only Smooth, featuring Rob Thomas of Matchbox 20. And I was in 5th grade at this time, and recently, like earlier today, me and my mom were cleaning out my closet, and we found a VHS tape of when I played Smooth on drums in front of my class. This was like my first time like playing music in front of people. So, of course, that song is going to have a very special place in my heart. It's one of the best songs ever, of course, too. But Black Magic Woman never really kind of matched up to that, so I was like, well, it definitely has a lot more, rootsy kind of thing to it. But I just never really found it to be as exciting until we get to the part when you get when it starts to pick up and it goes so yeah. This I'm going to put in B tier. Those orange tremolos. The song that makes me want to tango. I was thinking to myself, like, is tango in 3/4 or 4/4? Sounds pretty cool, man. Black Magic Woman is really easy guitar here, except for the very end. Cool song, yeah. The ending with the crazy alt strumming of the orange note. Oh, and now I know what you meant with orange tremolos. The part where it goes. That part where he like sort of plays like way high on the neck, like not even like some weird mute harmonic up top. Next, we got Story of My Life by Social Distortion. I wouldn't really get into Social Distortion until a lot later. I always found this song to just be kind of okay. The song that I really like from Social Distortion, I always forget the name of this. But it's from the where is it? Yes, it's from Sex, Love, and Rock and Roll. This would be Reach for the Sky. I always found that to be a much more fun song than this. Much faster and punkier song. This one I just found to be sort of more southerny and whatnot. Was never really that crazy about it. This I'm going to put in the D tier. I love the song so much. My first song is Social Distortion as well. Cowpunk. As far as cowpunk and all that, I always like the Vandals a lot better. Story of My Life is so simple for my standards, yet super relatable. This one is alright. Love Social Distortion, but the song is meh. Yeah, that's basically sort of how I am with it. Story of My Life. Next, another song I've sort of grown kind of tired of over the years, Paranoid by Black Sabbath. Very, very hard step down from War Pigs in the previous game. I remember finding it kind of cool that at the time that Black Sabbath had songs on all 3 of the games, which made me always sort of view Black Sabbath as kind of a staple. But I never liked the song as much as War Pigs or even Iron Man. I always just found the song to be a bit too simple. I even remember hearing some story about this basically kind of being written in a similar fashion to Cherry Pie, like at the last minute for the album. It was just sort of, chucked out just for the sake of having one more song to fill the album. But yeah, not super crazy about this one. This I'm going to put in the C tier. I'd say it's at least more entertaining than the ones below it, but yeah. Similar to Welcome to the Jungle right next to it, I'm just kind of tired of it. Paranoid is more punk than metal, maybe. I can see it as a song that influenced punk, definitely. The song got me into Black Sabbath, I'll be honest though, after hearing more of their songs and albums, it's not their best, but still an S tier for me, despite what I said. Paranoid, kind of speed metal, huh? I don't know about that. I don't really like using the term speed metal because all it really sounds like it's metal that's fast. And it's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of fast metal bands. Like, it just seems like way too vague of a term, and that's why I don't really use it. Most bands that get classified as speed metal, I usually have under traditional metal or power metal or neoclassical or thrash. That's sort of always been my thing there. This, what do we got? Ooh, another one of my favorites in the game. Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll by Blue Oyster Cult. I really like Godzilla in the first game, but I always found this to be a step up there. I love the riff. I love the drumming. Love the soloing. This song is fun as crap. One of my favorites in the game for sure. I'm definitely putting this in the S tier. This has been my favorite song of Blue Oyster Cult's ever since. And Godzilla's pretty great too, but this, though. Paranoid is awesome, as in the album of the same name, but I have to agree War Pigs beats it out. Its length being 1+ over Paranoid. Yeah, that's another thing I always found to be kind of a drop-off there, how short the song is. Burning for You is my favorite. That one's okay. Speed metal isn't descriptive, though. There are multiple subgenres of metal that have elements of speed. Exactly, that's always been my issue with the term. I dig Cities on Flame with Rock and Roll so damn much, hands down an S tier. Like, I'd listen to it over fucking Don't Fear the Reaper any fucking day. Ooh. Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden. A much step up from Wrathchild in Rock the 80s, in my opinion. This was my introduction to Iron Maiden, and it made a very good impression. It's not really one of my favorites these days. These days, my favorite from Iron Maiden is Hallowed Be Thy Name. But Number of the Beast is still pretty damn awesome. Great solos, great riffing, great singing. It's a classic. This whole album is a classic. It's not even my favorite album of theirs. It was for a while, but then Power Slave basically became my favorite. This would definitely be my second favorite, though. Comes very close. So, this is another one of those definite S tiers. As overrated as I think Iron Maiden kind of is. They're overrated for a reason, honestly. Number of the Beast song, Number of the Beast album. Maiden made much better albums, in my opinion. Trooper is my introduction. Phantom of the Opera 2. Trooper, I will always enjoy the riff to. At least they earned their overrated status, exactly. Next, we got Mississippi Queen by Mountain. So, Mountain is another one of those bands that I never really went out of my way to look into. The song, it's not bad. The lead tone and whatnot, was always like my favorite thing about this song, but I never really found the song that fun, honestly. Though, another thing with Mountain is that my first time seeing Joe Satriani, which is the show that I met him at, Mountain was opening for him on there, so that's why Mountain has their place in the history of my musical life and all that, but I've never really was that intrigued by this. So this I'm going to put in the D tier. Fun fact, Shades and I, unbeknownst to our knowledge, went to the same Iron Maiden concert in Mansfield in 2008. Yes. That was my first concert, and Space Metal was apparently there. Next, we got another song that I was hearing a lot of buzz about being in the game. One by Metallica. Because holy fuck, a Metallica song. Like, I remember Metallica were really ridiculous to license back then, and I have a feeling they might still be. I don't know. But I remember it being a big deal that this song was in the game, and it definitely made a pretty good impression on me, especially once it got to the fast part and with the you know which part I'm referring to, the really fast part in the song, the really fast tapping part. But yeah, it's a swell song. When I saw Metallica live, and of course Space Metal was at that concert as well, this was the only song from Injustice that they played, and pardon the pun. But I thought that was kind of unfortunate, but, it's a good song, definitely. It's definitely one that I won't mind listening to. This I'm going to put in A tier. Next we got... another one of my favorites. Cult of Personality by Living Colour. This freaking riff. It's groovy as shit. The solo is freaking crazy as hell. It's a pretty catchy song too. I love this very much. Living Colour is actually a very excellent band, and made up of all black musicians, which is really cool. So there's a lot of gushing to be done with this song. It was pretty crazy to play in the game, but it's fun as hell to listen to. Love it very much. Definite S tier here for this. And Justice for All is great. Couldn't have picked many other Metallica songs to be my first as well as one. Every bit of it blows me away. Load and Reload, definitely not the best, but tolerable. Death Magnetic and Hardwired or Headbanger's Ball. Yeah, for some reason, not a lot of people really like Death Magnetic. I like it. Living Colour is pretty good, S tier as well. Living Colour is awesome. They're groovy, they're funky, and yeah. Cult of Personality, hell yeah. The riff, the solo, everything about this song is so great. One was about a soldier who was wounded in war and is in a coma. Vernon Reid is the Black Carry King. I remember in Worst Songs of 2017, when I was talking about the song Black Beatles, I remember making kind of a pun about, the fact that Living Colour is all African American, and how if any band was going to be the Black Beatles, it would probably be them. Next, we got Hit Me With Your Best Shot by Pat Benatar. I was kind of familiar with this song prior to playing this in the game, and I'm like, yeah, it's catchy. Got a pretty alright solo. My favorite, though, from Pat Benatar would be Fire and Ice. And I think, Heartbreaker on Guitar Hero 4, I kind of saw that as a bit of a step up from this. The song is still alright, though. One interesting thing, though, when I saw Pat Benatar in 2011, it was a last-minute decision. Someone gave me their ticket. My uncle gave me his ticket. I went to the show with my mom and my aunt, and for the longest time, this was like the concert I would always say was the worst concert that I ever been to because of how short it was and how I felt like I was just in and out at that show. And there was one moment there where she had said that she normally doesn't play Hit Me With Your Best Shot before she started it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So it leads me to think she probably just kind of doesn't like the song. As for where I'm going to rank it, I'm going to put it in B tier. Hell's for Children, that's another pretty heavy one. Next, we've got Barracuda by Heart. Step down from Crazy on You in the second game, in my opinion. I never liked this song as much as Crazy on You. I never really thought it had that much going for it. I mean, sure, it's like one of the first like gallop riff songs, and that's always been sort of the big thing about this, but I was never really that huge on this song, honestly. So for this C tier for this one. This we get Lagrange by ZZ Top. Personally, I view this as a step up from Sharp Dressed Man in the first game. Sharp Dressed Man's fun. This one I always thought had a better riff and a cooler solo. And had a bit more fun with this one. Like I talked about in the Guitar Hero 1 stream, ZZ Top has always been sort of corny fun kind of band, especially with this song being about a whorehouse, which sort of, you know, explains him going, ah, which I always thought that was kind of funny sounding. This I'm going to put in the A tier. Great song, just not as good as Crazy on You. Nancy Wilson on Barracuda. What the fuck am I supposed to do on this song? Barracuda or Trooper? Trooper, definitely. Next we got Stricken by Disturbed. I heard this and Down with the Sickness like at around the same time, and I was pretty sold there. This is, since then, Down with the Sickness has definitely become very soured for me. This song, though, definitely hasn't. I've always found this to be a much, much better song. It has a catchier riff. It's got a really cool solo, and yeah, I always had more fun with this. It's one of my favorites from Disturbed. Probably like my second favorite after Indestructible. But yeah, there's a lot to this that make it one of Disturbed's bests in my humble opinion. This I'm going to put in the S tier for that. Stricken does kick ass. Here we got Holiday in Cambodia by Dead Kennedys. I'd say this was probably a step up from Police Truck and Rock the 80s. A little bit. I think this has a little more going for it. Pretty fun song. Alright. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorite Dead Kennedys songs in general, but it's certainly good. This I'm gonna put in the B tier. Holiday in Cambodia equals A tier. Okay. Holiday in Cambodia for sure is an S tier. The intro is a bitch in Guitar Hero. Holiday in Cambodia would be easy S tier for me. Yeah. That's cool. This one, a song I never really give a lot of thought to. Lay Down by Priestess. I never really understood why this was part of the main set list compared to, you know, songs that are in the bonus songs that are much more well-known and much more highly regarded than this. It's something I never really understood. I always sort of found this song to be kind of bland and not all that special. So this I'm going to put in D tier, because I'd certainly take listening to it over the stuff below it. Next, the song that introduced me to Slipknot, Before I Forget. Such groovy parts in this, especially during the verse. The chorus is quite catchy. The verse riff is especially like my favorite part. So made a very good impression on Slipknot for me here. And as a result, Volume 3 is my second favorite album of theirs after Iowa. And this is definitely like one of my favorites still. When I saw Slipknot live last summer, I was very psyched when they played this. So very easy S for this. Next, what is this? Helicopter by Block Party. Another song that I remember being kind of unlockable through the co-op career mode. And this song is pretty catchy. It's got some pretty catchy parts. Block Party I always found to be kind of an okay band. Have some alright material, especially on that first album, Alarm. Silent Alarm, I should say. But this is definitely like the most recognizable song of theirs. This I'm going to put in... I'll put it in the A tier. It's fun. Helicopter is SSS tier. Slipknot was one of the first bands that got me to check out more extreme music, especially with the Iowa record, so I respect Slipknot. Yeah, similar to what I said about Lamb of God in the Guitar Hero 2 stream, I did call the song death metal because it had harsh vocals. But it was, you know, a lot catchier and all that. Man, Helicopter, fun song, and A tier for me. Helicopter was a song that got me into Block Party, but Like Eating Glass is my favorite from them. Yeah. Next, we've got Miss Murder by AFI. I don't mind the song, but I've always preferred early AFI over December Underground. December Underground is where I kind of cut off with them. That's sort of when I feel like they became a bit more commercial sounding. But this song is still, you know, pretty fun, I guess. But I prefer the more hardcore stuff from them. So this I'm going to put in either A or B. Probably B. I like it, but Dancing Through Sunday and Girls Not Grey are better in my opinion. B tier for me. The Leaving song has always been my sort of go-to for them. AFI, Silver and Cold is the best AFI out there. Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols. I've talked before about how I never really got Sex Pistols. You know, they've always been one of those bands that I think people kind of overrate a good bit. They act like, oh, they're the greatest punk band ever. And it's like, I just don't really see it. And this was my introduction with them. And it's like, this isn't really making a good impression with me. To be honest, I always sort of found this song kind of boring. So this is gonna rank. This I'm gonna put in the E tier. I love early AFI and December Underground era, but for totally different reasons, almost like they're different bands. Yeah, Leaving song is awesome. What about Bridge of Miss Murders? Yeah, there's some cool screaming there. I like the Motley Crue version better, honestly. Nevermind the Bollocks is S tier. Buzzcocks over Sex Pistols, agreed. Slow Ride by Foghat. Foghat is another one of those bands that I never really got too into beyond this song. This song is kind of cool. It's got some cool slide parts. I really like the bass lines in here as well. But outside of this, I always just found Foghat to be kind of by the numbers generic 70s hard rock and all that, and never really impressed me that much. They also, for like in the game, they cut a lot out because the original song is like 8 minutes long. It's got some pretty lengthy parts to it. And I personally find that to be a bit more enjoyable than in the game. So this I'm going to put in the C tier. Oh, Foghat is a meme. Yeah. I've kind of picked up on that. Miss Murder is piss annoying on guitar on Smash Hits. Slow Ride, take it easy. Slow Ride is okay. Slow Ride I thought was about drive a truck, but it's about riding sex. Of course it is. Of course, you know, another thing I associate with that song is, of course, Dazed and Confused. At the end of the movie. Next, we got Black Sunshine by White Zombie. Kind of a step down from Thunderkiss 65 in the first game. I didn't think the song was as cool as that one. It's still pretty fun, though. But I don't really have that much to say about this, because I don't think it really gives me too much to say. So this I'm going to put in the B tier. This I know is a bonus song, but I just decided to throw it on there because, you know, it's one of the main reasons that people, you know, bought the game, and one of the main memories people have is this song's inclusion, Through the Fire and Flames. I'm not I remember sort of thinking it was a bit of a cop-out that this wasn't the final boss song, and rather this is just a thing that you play during the credits and whatnot. But even on fucking Medium, I remember this being quite difficult. I have known a couple people. I mentioned one guy in the What's Wrong With on Dragon Force that was like ranked as one of the like top Guitar Hero players in the country, who could beat this on Expert and all that. So, obviously, we know this song's awesome. We know that Dragon Force are very talented and all that. As much of a meme as they sort of have been kind of going down that sort of meme route these days. But this song will always be a love of mine. Black Sunshine is C tier. They made better. Dragon Force is the only power metal band to become mainstream. It sort of depends on how you define power metal, but I would definitely say they are the most mainstream power metal band, probably of all time. You can't have GH3 tier list without it. Next, we got Talk Dirty to Me by Poison. Pretty fun, pretty catchy. Pretty cool solo, though it's got nothing on nothing but a good time. Definitely a step down there. This was never really a song that I liked as much as that. You know, it's fun, but it's never really been one of my favorites from Poison. So this I'm going to put in A tier. Jason Derulo Talk Dirty to Me over Poison. At least Derulo's memorable. I remember I made a pun about that in Best Songs of 2014. Poison Talk Dirty to Me sounds pucky. Kind of. Talk Dirty to Me, my introduction to Poison, and it has been with me ever since I started purchasing music on iTunes. It was my introduction too. But the more I listen, but most of the stuff I listened to from Poison ended up kind of blowing it out of the water. Sunshine of Your Love by Cream. Another song that has a riff that I think is kind of played out. And a step down from Crossroads in the first game. This has never really been a song I really liked all that much. I always just saw it as kind of meh. Not awful, but I don't know. It leaves a lot to be desired personally. So this I'm going to put in... I'll be generous. I'll put it in D tier. Ginger Baker, yeah, his drumming on that is probably the best part. White Room over Sunshine of Your Love, agreed. Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. I'm not sure I like this as much as Killin' in the Name, but it's definitely a fun one. It's definitely catchier, in my opinion. Pretty fun to play as well. Fun to play on bass in real life. You know, there's only really so much I know for this song on guitar. One of these days I sort of need to, you know, I have seen videos on how the solo here, the sort of scratchy solo, is played. I think it's with turning... It has to do with turning the knobs up and sort of sliding your hand on the strings, I guess, and doing a kill switch effect. But yeah, musically, I've always found this to be a ton of fun. So S tier for this. Cream and Eric Clapton's solo career is very ed. Ginger was always my favorite member from the band. Down Rodeo, Bulls on Parade. Okay. Bulls on Parade introduced me to Rage. Killing the Name is much more fun. It's more fun to play, personally. Bulls is A tier. E flat. Threes and Sevens by Queens of the Stone Age. This song went on to become my favorite of Queens of the Stone Age. I find this to be kind of a step up from No One Knows in the first game. Like, I always found it kind of interesting how in the main riff there's kind of a displacement thing going on in the rhythm section. And there's some pretty fun lead work in this as well. Pretty catchy too. But No One Knows is still pretty fun though. This one I just kind of like a little better. This I'm going to put in the A tier. Yeah, Killing the Name just has more fun groove, and it does have a better solo, for sure. The Bulls on Parade solo has nothing on the Killing in the Name solo. And it especially has nothing on the Know Your Enemy solo. The song got me into Queens of the Stone Age. BTW, Sunshine of Your Love may have created the riff, but Anagata DeVita would do it better the following year. That chorus. This, we got Even Flow by Pearl Jam. Pretty fun one. Pretty groovy one. Not really a song I liked all that much in the game. I was never really the hugest on Pearl Jam. I always preferred Alice in Chains and Soundgarden over them. But, you know, I still find the material to be kind of enjoyable. They do have some good musicians. But that's always been sort of my weird kind of feeling with Pearl Jam. Definitely one of their more fun songs. But I don't know. This I am going to put in the B tier. Era Vulgaris is pretty underrated if you ask me. Yes, it is very underrated. Eddie Vedder vocals equals Scott Stapp. Yes, we all know that. Got 3 more. And this one is a very large file. What is this? Ooh, The Metal by Tenacious D. Another very fun one. It's from a great movie, and from my favorite album of Tenacious D's, the Pick of Destiny soundtrack. A very fun song that you hear at the end of the movie during the credits. It's got lyrics I'm sure we can all relate to about how nothing can destroy the metal. Even though I like punk, I like some grunge, I like my new wave, some of it, and how they all tried to destroy the metal, and grunge almost succeeded, but didn't. But yes, song has a great riff. It's got some fun parts. And of course you got Jack Black being Jack Black. Who doesn't love that? This has nothing, though, on fucking Beelzebub, the final showdown. Tenacious D will never have a song better than that. And there will never be a more badass moment than that fucking scene in the movie, which ironically has Dave Jesus Grohl playing the devil. And I think he plays drums on that as well. So, even though this isn't exactly one of my all-time favorites of Tenacious D, I definitely got to put it in the S tier. Long live the D. Kyle Gass equals awesome guitarist. He is great. Jack Black is a great frontman. He really is. I saw them live around the end of 2018. They were quite entertaining. Love the song Master Exploder. That's another one of my favorites from the movie / soundtrack. Probably my second favorite after Beelzebub. S tier, though. The first time I heard the metal, I didn't know what comedy band. Yeah, like, I didn't even know that was Jack Black singing on this. But then once I found out it was, I'm like, oh, I can kind of hear it now. No one can destroy the metal. I'm the devil, I love metal. The guitar part played the same notes as the part in the metal right after that last verse. I can kind of see that. Check this riff, it's fucking tasty. The way they introduced that song at the concert I went to was kind of hacky, but I was very, very glad they played it. Because if they didn't, I would be very, very upset. Oof. Another one of my all-time favorites in the game, Cliffs of Dover by Eric Johnson. One of my favorite instrumental songs ever. This is so happy sounding. I just love it. I love the very cheery melodies. I love the sort of dramatic sounding parts, like as the before it gets into the final chorus melody when it goes and in the last part of the chorus when it goes up the octave for it, I always really liked that too. Like, I always get in such a good mood whenever I listen to this. It's amazing. I love this song so much. Another very easy S rank. Last but not least, we got Knights of Sidonia by Muse. So, my relationship with this band is kind of weird. You know, not just because their name because their name reminds me of my former favorite YouTuber, but this was my introduction to Muse, and when I first heard it in the game, I thought the song was so kick-ass and awesome. You know, I loved the, groove in the, first half of the song, and that part. Even when the vocals entered, I never really liked the vocals that much, and I always thought they were kind of weird sounding when it gets to the "No one's gonna take me alive," that part. But the part after that, I thought that part sounded really awesome. But everything else I've heard from Muse just never matched up to this. They never really made any other songs that sounded like this. And I always found that to be very unfortunate. They're not bad songs. Like, of course, Hysteria has a very great bass line. And there's some other cool songs, like some other favorites of theirs include Uprising, Assassin, Time Is Running Out, Stockholm Syndrome. and some others here and there, but this one was always my favorite, and it's always been kind of the peak level for them that they just never really matched, which is kind of unfortunate. So this yeah, I'm making it I'm gonna put it in the S right there. It's great. I see them as being a Radiohead ripoff band. Now that's always been, I think I talked about that in that Radiohead elitists video I made about people complaining about Muse and all that. I don't think Muse is awful. I just think they're okay. There's my final tier list for GH3. So let me export as GH3 tier list. And just like I've done in the other streams here, let's briefly go over the bonus songs because there are some pretty awesome ones. List of songs in Guitar Hero 3. Alright, bonus songs. Avalancha by Heroes del Silencio. Can't Be Saved by my old pals Senses Fail. Good song, definitely, from a great album of theirs. Senses Fail do have good music, it's just that Buddy Nielsen was just such a raging SJW on Facebook. Closer by Lacuna Coil. I was never really that big on Lacuna Coil. Don't Hold Back by The Sleeping. The Sleeping are pretty okay. Down and Dirty by LA Slumlords. Don't really remember that. FCP Remix by Fall of Troy. One of my favorite bonus songs. That song is so crazy. I love it. Generation Rock by Revolver Held. Meh. Go That Far by Bret Michaels Band. Not awful, but never really cared much for Bret Michaels solo. Here Kommt Alex by Die Toten Hosen. Kind of a funny one. I'm in the Band by the Helicopters. Impulse by An Endless Sporadic. Yes. Endless Sporadic are awesome. They're an awesome instrumental prog metal band. Highly recommend you check them out. In Love by Scouts of St. Sebastian. Dunno. In the Belly of a Shark by Gallows. Malvis Garcon by Nust. Metal Heavy Lady by The Lions. Minus Celsius by the Backyard Babies. Fall of Troy is really cool math rock. They're excellent. They're very excellent. Endless Sporadic are cool. Glad to see someone else agrees. FCP Remix kicks so much ass. My Curse by Killswitch Engage. My favorite song of theirs. I love that chorus. And how it's great. Love it. Nothing For Me Here by Dope. Never really cared that much about Dope. Prayer of the Refugee by Rise Against. I love Rise Against. This song is pretty awesome. But my favorite from Rise Against has always been Architects. Radio Song by Superbus. Ruby by Kaiser Chiefs. That one's pretty cool. Pretty fun. She Bangs the Drums by the Stone Roses. This is actually not a master recording. That's interesting. Not a bad one. I did think that Love Spreads in Guitar Hero 4 was a step up. Take This Life by In Flames. Okay, I've never really been that huge into In Flames. The Way It Ends by Prototype. Another band that comes highly recommended. Very, very great prog metal band. And then finally, Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. That's cool. I think we're done. Back over to main window. I can X out of GIMP. And I can throw that folder away. This is my curse! Yep. Agreed, Architects is their best song. Yes, glad to see someone agrees with me there. I don't know if I want to do a tier list for Guitar Hero World Tour because, I don't know. I remember looking over the soundtrack for that just for like on the off chance it interested me enough to do a tier list, and there was a lot that I just don't even remember. And it would be just kind of scattered and all over the place. So it's doubtful I'm gonna do any more tier lists beyond this one. This is probably just gonna be the last one. Guitar Hero soundtracks went downhill after 3. Yeah, I mean, 4 had some good songs, but the overall package, you know, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot that I just don't really remember. There's like way too much indie rock in there.
Eventually.
I think now I should cut it off. I'm getting hungry. So, thanks for chilling with me on this. This was pretty fun. And that's about it. Have a good rest of your evening and take care. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.